Gaeilge Weekly is a Learn Irish Online production. To find out more about LIO, check out the description down below. Hello, Tigwich. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Madsama, Trolonama, whatever time you might be listening, pay or will to Gaeilge. Welcome back to Gaeilge Weekly, fiosrúcháin with Gaeilge Weekly. You are now listening to episode number 127, Tábhachtach Gaeilge le hagran céad sa féiseacht, the bilingual or a lot simpler version on leagan Gach no on leagan BHFAD Níos Simplí. How are we doing? Conas Talmud, very happy to be back speaking to you again. Lánsásta a bheith rais ag labhairt leat aríist. I always think it's funny how different points of the year ag only ceapam go mín say granver an chuí a bhín tréimh siad nó puin siad difriúla I rith na bliana, how they're connected to different events throughout the year. Go mín siad ceangailte le himachtaí difriúla I rith na bliana. For me, I often think about it in terms of sporting events. Dumsa bín mise ag smaoineamh faoi maidir le himachtaí sport. So if I'm thinking about big games in Crow Park in the championship, má tá mise ag smaoineamh faoi cluiche móra I borch an Crocaig I rith an chraobh, I think about the summer. Bín me ag smaoineamh faoin Sarah. And I think about May, June, July, previously August and September. So mi bhealtain mi meitheamh, mi úil freisin, rivisha, mi lunasa, agus mi bheanfóver. But of course nowadays the championship happens much earlier than it used to in the late in the show. Agus na blianta show these years, being an chraobh ar siúl bhfad níos luatha. Sa bhliain ná mar bhí sé. If you think about darts or whatever, má tá ag smaoineamh faoi darts, no péród atá ann. You think about Christmas and the World Championship, and over the festive season, the darts being on Sky Sports, bín ag smaoineamh faoi nullag, agus na darts ar siúl, agus an chraobh Déanta ar Sky Sports. And if I think about the Six Nations, which are starting this weekend, má tá ag smaoineamh faoi na Six Nations, ag tosú an dearra seachtainna seo. If I think about the start of the National League in Ireland, má tá ag smaoineamh faoi tús na sraithe náisiúnta in Éireann that have just started a few days ago. Well, Dúireach tar éis tosú cúpla lá hin. Always think about kind of not quite the start of spring, ní tús an airg, but certainly coming towards the end of winter and being through the worst of winter. You know, ag dul tríd agus a bheith dúireach tar éis imeachtas an puinte is massa den na gíomhre. And the daffodils coming up, los an chromchain, ag teacht aníos, and bit by bit the days slightly getting longer, piece le leihananta ag airí beag an níos fuide. And then I always think about stuff like the Masters in the golf is right. Winter's completely gone. The clocks have changed, so on Masters of Golf, which is on, I think, first week of April, normally second week of April, on chéad seachtain, no, on dara seachtain, in my eyebrow. Winter's gone. We're fully into spring. Thomas céad fan géad is shit anish san airch, and tá an ghíomhre imithe, and things are getting better. Life is okay again. On sale, cearcalóir aríis. And it's crazy that we're already 1 month in the year. Tá sé do chreidse chun smaoineamh go bhfuil mí omláin anish imithe hana féin, that we've already gone through 1 month already. But we're through the worst of it. November gone, December gone, January gone, mína saona, mína nullag, mí anar imithe, heading towards February, and bit by bit, loads of new things starting in the spring on its way. Tá an Tarach ar a bhealach, and as well as that, Easter is quite early this year. Comala sin tá an cháisc sách lua in Molina. I really sound like an owl lad, or I'm really, bit by bit, piece le piece, I'm forming myself into old classical Irish person, just talking about the weather and the time of year, and it's flying by. And I'm sure agus an táimtin flin agus goil sé gimocht go han tapi fad. And maybe that's also to do with one or two of the things I want to talk about on the podcast today. Beidir goil buinch agus sin le rud nó gó a bhfuil mé ag éirí labhairt faoi an bud chréile inniu. Because the theme of the podcast this week on thema an bud chréile an teachtain seo, and as you can see by the title, mar tátain an feicáil an headsail den fud chréile is cad atá tábhachtach. What's important? And I want to talk a little bit about the way I live my life and the way I maybe sometimes want to live my life rather than the way I actually do. So an chuí a bhín mise ag markdal ó lá go lá, and my kind of daily routine and stuff on gnáthleagan a bhín agam, but maybe as well, again, the way I want to live it more an chuí a bhín mé ag géirí a dhéanú agus a bhharachdal beagganín níos mó. Anyone who's listened to the podcast for a decent length of time, aon duine ag éisteach leis an bud chréile le tamil anús. You guys might know that I'm probably a bit old school and a bit old-fashioned with some of the ways I do things in my life. Tá mé beagganín old school nó sean aimsire le cúpla den rudaí a bhín mé ag déanú sa Seol. Now, don't worry, that's nothing to do with my political views. Pull it Seol, mar sin. What I mean by that is I try and live my life a lot more analog than a lot of other 25-year-olds would. Cilíonn sé sin go mbíonn mé ag déanú rudaí nó ag déanúireacht chun rudaí a dhéanú I mbealach beagganín níos analog ná mar bheadh an chuid is mó de daoine atá 25 than most people who are 25, and that's what age I am. I was born in 2000, rugus of lean Gaeilge, a millennium baby. So examples would be, as I'm recording this podcast, agus misheag tafadú an fud chréile. I have a pen in my hand, I have paper in front of me. I'm writing down all the trickiest words I say to make scríobh síos na focail is deacra, no is dú chlánaí, ó bhfuil mé ag rá, because I'm going to put it in a PDF afterwards for Gaeilge Weekly members on Patreon to help them out. But again, I could be doing that on a laptop. It's féidir le mé sinní an laptop, but I just prefer doing it pen and paper, the kind of old way, on sean bhealach and sean stíl. Another example would be, okay, I listen to Spotify and use Spotify all the time, but I also have a vinyl record player in the house that Seinto Cearnaní agam sa teach of ma. Cé go mbíonn mé ag úsáid Spotify agus ag úsáid YouTube, chun éisteach le ceol. I also like listening with records and actually having the physical thing on rud physical of a agam. Generally, I keep my phone on airplane mode from midnight to midday. Dig ná bíonn an phone mód eitilte agam ó meán ihe go meán lei. Try not to spend too much time on social media, but obviously that's trickier than a lot of people think or say. You know, a lot of people, and I include myself, Mishas and Orv, kind of say, oh yeah, I really don't spend that much time on social media. Ní bhíonn mé I chathú an méid sin ama na mí an thoisialta, but then you get to the end of the day, shrican tú 0 on lei, and you realize, oh God, I spent a lot of time today scrolling through Instagram, or even without thinking, you know, scroll all through Instagram, few gan of it ag smuoineh faoi, just taking out the phone automatically, ag tógáil an phone amach go huibrioch, and going on it, then realizing after 10 minutes, wait, what am I doing? Ag tuairt faoi deara tar éis jet nóid, hold on, 1 second. Cén rud ó bhfuil mé ag déanú an seo. So again, that's one of the reasons I say I'm trying or want to be more like this, but often it's easier said than done. Go minic an tá mar fad really the whole time bíonn sé níos éasca an labhairt faoi ná mar atá sé a dhéanú. But I've no interest in reading a book on a Kindle. I like having the actual physical book. Started getting into one or two things in terms of photography, piece le piece. Tá níos mó simagam maidir leis an green graffadóireacht, not proper photography, but just with some instant cameras, the ones that print out. And again, I use all these stuff on my phone as well. Bíonn mé buint úsáidsa as na rudaí seo my phone chomh maith. So I use Spotify, I use ChatGPT with my work for a lot of different stuff. Bíonn mé úsáid GPT I mo chuidibre, I mo foslathe lán rudaí difriúla. I'm not like a hermit. I have WhatsApp and all those different things, and I use them. Bíonn mé buint úsáidsa as tú gach lá. But I try to have the balance, I guess. bín méid déanúireacht an chomhpháirtíocht a bheith agam. And to try and not live my whole life in front of the screen. Chun iarachta dhéanamh gan a bheith ag chathu ma héal fad os cóir an scáilán. I think if you look back over the last 80 years or so, má éachan tú siar beidir 8 bliain go dtí seo, bit by bit we've had more and more screens in our life. Piece le piece tá níos mó scáilán agin in our Seol. So first thing I guess would have been the television around the 50s or 60s, or in the Gaeilge, na seascaidí on telefís. But that would have maybe just been for 20 minutes, half an hour a day. But they're fitting nomid, strucklnomid, or chlig in and lay. And then maybe 80s, 90s, octagy, and the nóchaidí, we got the computers, bhí na ríomhphost. Then we got the internet on the computers, and sin bhí an Idirlín na ríomhphost. And then for a lot of people, maybe around the turn of the century, the screen became part of their job. Hart their beidir an bhliain 2000, daoirí an scáilán mar chuid dá Seol agus chuid dá phost. So part of their life and a part of their job. Sitting down on a computer, like I am now, I have the laptop open with Audacity as I record. Tá an laptop oscailta agam le Audacity agus mise ag tafadú inis. And that would have been the case for a lot of people, especially working office jobs in 2000, even the 90s. Few stanócaidí, no 2000. Then we got the phones. The phones started getting better. Then we got the smartphones around 06, 07, 08, 09. 2006, 7, 8, 9. Formid na phone cliste. Then social media. Agus an sin na mian hóisialta. And then the worst thing, well, rud's massive. Not the worst thing, and it's actually one thing I should say, rudder one, I will make it raw. This isn't an anti-internet, anti-screens, anti-technology podcast or anything like that. Ní putchaile fri technoliachta agus fri na scáilán agus fri na mian hóisialta é seo. Not at all. Ní churbe. I think all these things are just things. Ceapam na rudí seo is rudí iad, and they can be used for good and bad. They can be positive and negative. Is féidir lo a bheith dearfach, is féidir lo a bheith diúltach. Okay, just to make that clear. Just honey sin a dhéanamh on a solar, because it would be ironic as someone who's grown their business online and as someone who's talking to you now as a result of the internet and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything else, mar chuna ag labhairt leat dúircanis mar gheall Spotify agus Apple Podcasts agus an Idirlín, it would be arrogant, I think, for me to say, oh, the internet is a bad thing. It's struchrod an Idirlín. It's just a thing. There's positives, there's negatives, like anything. It's rud tá buntáistí leis, tá míbhuntáistí leis, cosúil le aon rud eile, just like anything else. So, going through then getting the internet on the phone, I think around 2009, 2010, a lot of people started to have internet on the phone. Arthur Gaeilge sa ní, Gaeilge sa je, thosaigh daoine an Idirlín an phone, agus bhí rochtán Idirlíne acu an phone. They had internet access on the phone. And you go on from there, and it's become bigger part of our life. The phone has been able to do more. Now, if you go to the airport, anish má haon tú go dtí an airport, you think about the process going through the airport. You're using the phone to check in and to go through the gates. Tá tú úsáid an phone agus an code QR, chun an check-in dhéanamh agus dul tríd na gceataí. Then when you get through and you're waiting for the plane, you can do so much stuff on the phone and so many emails that went on méid sin rudaí a dhéanamh an phone agus ríomhphost, and you can message this person, you can check this on social media, you can play this game, you can do everything that bhfuil an gach rudaí dhéanamh that you're on it while you're waiting, then you're on it while you're on the plane, and between then you have to show it to the people. And it's an example, it's sample A of just doing one thing in your life and kind of needing or using the phone for everything. Ag úsáid an phone like gachart, and that's not even to mention the addiction that people have to different things on the phone, whether it be social media or games or even music or podcasts. An dúlatág daoine leis an phone le na mion hoisialta, le cluichí, no few pulchrailty, agus ceol. People, and I'm definitely like this sometimes, that I struggle to sit in silence. I need something kind of in my ears, some type of media content, in other words, podcasts or music. Vocalela, pulchrailty, no ceol. So if you think over the last 80 years, there's been more screen time, starting off from, again, maybe half an hour in the 50s or 60s, I guess in Ireland really it was, when RTE started and people started getting tellies, fi telefishi, ag daoine, through the 60s, 70s, and that's grown up until probably around COVID and the pandemic. You know, vi sin fásu gotí hartar an bandéime, gabhils fiche agus COVID, and that's probably when it peaked, I think, in my mind, in Sin, certainly in Ireland and maybe across Europe, in Éireann agus timpeall na Hórpa. But I think we've come to an interesting point. Ceapam gúilmid anis faoinse simúl, and we're asking ourselves that question, like I've said in the title of this podcast, tá muid sé cur ceist ar on hain maidir leis an teidséilt an fudcrain inniu, cad atá tábhachtach. That's sure, it's nice to be able to use all these things on the phone, and it's very handy for a lot of stuff. Tá sé go deas chun na rudaí seo úsáid ar an phone, agus tá sé an áisiúil. It's very handy. But what's important? Cad tá tábhachtach. And kind of a lot of people, I think especially a lot of people my age, go hoirithe lán daoine ar chois lumsa, maybe you're just saying, hold on, I want to put the brakes on a small bit here. Tá mé gurí just dul bucaní níos moille. Go a bit slower. And I certainly see it with all the AI stuff over the last year. You know, tá sé feiceágam leis a lán rudaí anis le intlacht théarga le bliain anús. And again, I'm not against AI. I use it for loads of stuff in my business and even outside of my work. Bí mé buint úsáid as le a lán rudaí I phost agus tíomh mu je mo chuid ibre. But there's so much of it all over the place now, and I think more and more people are saying, not in a big rebellious way or a big political way, ní I malach on a politúil or on a rebellious way, just to go, you know what, I just want to go out for a walk without listening to podcasts or music, or you know what, I just want to sit down in my house and read a book, and have a coffee and read a book and forget about the phone. And this trend that's been going on for the last 80 years, again, I can only speak for my own life. Ní fréid sa lum labhartach le a héal hain. And I don't want to be putting words in other people's life, but I've certainly over the last few years gone, okay, I want to make a concerted effort to make Erie fear iirecht a dhéanamh to live my life with less technology. Again, nothing against that technology, ní sé mar aon rud a gcoinne an technolic sin, but I have a caveman brain. Tá caveman brain agam, as we all do. I'm not saying we should go back to being hunter-gatherers. Ní mé gra cheartún a bheith ag shellig le hanbhí agus le turthaí a aimsú a muid an sin. So wilderness. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying that to pick up the phone first thing in the morning in darkness and this light going in your eyes saying, Trump said this. Have you seen Trump said this? Have you seen this is happening in India? 500 people dead in India yesterday through this or that or the other. And all this info coming at you. An tólas seo ag teachthuigad. This person has said this in the comments. Tá rud seo ráite an duine seo sa tráchtarachtaí. By the way, someone just logged into your Google account. Is it you? You better prove it's you. Tá duine ag an tar síadmas teach I the chuntas Google. An tosa é caithú é a haspáins dún. Gur tosa atá ann. You have to show us that it's you. And two-step verification. You better go downstairs, get your phone, check the code we just sent you, and then do this. And again, all those things allow you to do great things and allow you to live a much more convenient life. Na rudí sin galéir, tógann sé an seans that chun a lán rudí simúla, you know, listen to this podcast, look at what I've been able to do with Learn Irish Online. It's brilliant, and I'm so grateful that I live in this generation. Tá mé cóbuíoch go bhfuil mé ag marachtáil sa chlún seo, and I've been able to share so much stuff on Gaeilge Weekly and Learn Irish Online with people around the world. Go bhfuil mé an méid seo rudí agus pulchrailtaí a rinch le dhaoine timpeall an domhan. So I'm not saying it's a negative thing, but I'm saying it's a lot. It's a lot for one person. It's a lot for your brain. Tá lán rudaí an sin le in sin. And I think more and more people, especially my age, go hoirithim í séin, which, you know, people might be surprised by, beidir goil iontas ar chuoine faoi sin, because when we think about technology, nuair atá muid ag smaoine faoin technoliacht, often we think about it, well, the younger you are, the more you use. You know, that níos óga bíonn tú ag buint níos mó úsáidse as an technoliacht. But I think there's a bit of pushback, or a bit of people my age, and like myself, just saying, you know what, I don't need to be spending time on Instagram. Ní chaim mé bheith cahuama ar Instagram. I have plenty of screen time during the day. I have plenty of stimulation and info coming in. I actually just want to go for a walk. Tá mé gurí dul ar siúlóid and just chill out for half an hour. I actually just want to have a coffee and sit downstairs in my house, see she's thaire in my yacht, and not even to have a book in my hand or a phone or TV. Just look around the room. Just sit there. Agus just a bheith in my hí an sin. And as nice as it is to get €2 or €3 off a ticket for a Galway United game, because you get it online beforehand, gcomhpháirtíocht agus tá sé chun €2 nó €3 a all as ticéad go cluiche Gaeilge bhaintíhe, I'll pay the extra €2 or €3. I'll pick it up in O'Brien's on Shop Street. Ichi mé as an dá nó €3 sa bhreis, raci mé go O'Brien's an sin siopa shráid na siopaí. And for me, that's what life is. Life isn't what you see on the phone. Sin cad atá ag gceist leis an Seol agus leis an domhan. Like what you see on the phone, the rudaí a bhíonn tú ag feiceáil ar an phone, that's not real life. Ní an fearsale town. For me, what real life is walking down to my local cafe or bar here in Seol, ag siúil síos go see an bar no cafe áit Seol and Seville, and going for a coffee and having a small bit of small chat with the waiter or waitress. Buganín small chat no córa beag a bheith agam leis an freastálaí agus just coffee at all so cearnog, and to have a little coffee in the square. Or for me, what real life is again going for a walk on a back road in Galway and just looking around and not trying to achieve anything. Gán de bheith ag déanúireacht rud éigean a bhaint amach, just going for a walk and that's it. Ag dul amach ar siúlóid. That's what real life is. And again, a lot of these things, it's a lot easier said than done. Bhad ní sé gon labhairt faoin rudí seo in áit sin dhéanamh. But I think more and more in my life I'm realising I already have enough technology in my life, and what do I get from having more of it? Hána féin tá neart technoliacht agam in my héal, agus cada aim as níos móid an rud sin a bheith agam. And realising you have a bit of control of it, you know, ag tuairisfidar gohfuil tú buganí níos mó ag ceannas ar ná mar cheaptar. One of the best things I've ever done, I kind of mentioned it earlier, ceann rudí is fearr ar my riomh, is make a decision from midnight to midday roughly. You know, more or less gombeach an phone ar mód eitilte agam I rith na hornta sin. So pretty easy really, because I'm asleep from midnight till 8 or until 9. Bí me ima chola meáníthe go dtí beidir a hocht nó a ní, and then I wake up and it's only a few more hours. But I find if I get through the first hour or two a day without looking at my phone or without getting on the dopamine hamster wheel, gán a bheith ar an rush sin cosúil le hamster, níos mó dopamine, lil sam, and é sin an Gaeilge ar dopamine I mBéarla. But anyway, I'm sure they can't be too different. But if I don't get in that zone early on the day, then I'm fine for the rest of the day. Tá mé ceart go leor an chuid Seilge an lá, because I'm not constantly looking for it. And that's the thing, I'm sure we all know it. Tá sé ar ólas agin, when you have the phone in your pocket and you just keep on taking out, checking stuff. I find I always just keep on opening rte.ie, because it's like my main go-to website. And like, they go only be my guscailt rte.ie, and I might have been just on 30 seconds ago, but I do it automatically without even thinking. Be make déanúin rud sin gán the bheith smaoine faoi, and it is kind of an addiction. It's andúil. Even for someone like me who, comparatively to other people, I gcomhpháirtíocht le daoine eile, I don't spend much time on my phone. Ní bhíonn mé cathú an nummarcha ama ar an phone. So For me, that's something that's helped me massively. And just then realize in the morning as I go out for a walk, maybe I don't even have the phone on me. I just have keys in my pocket and a bit of cash. It's another thing I do, cash. I don't use my card. And if you make úsáid mo chomórta, just going, it's fine. I don't need to have the phone on me. I appreciate people's situations are different if you're a parent and whatever. The má tá with a hismóthar agus mar singe. But even then, even maybe you can find 10 minutes a day to just put the phone in airplane mode or leave it in the house, go for a walk or whatever, and just say, this is what's actually real. Everything on the screen there, gach there in Seol and everything in my job, it's not really real life, you know? It's kind of a distraction. It's a distraction at all. And actually being outside or reading a book, pen and paper, writing something, peonagus pauper, gléamh leabhar, chatting away to someone, or going for a run, whatever, those are things that are actually real in life. And to answer what's important, that's what's important. And the people in your life, na daoine of the hill. I spoke a few months ago on the show about the news. Cúpla mí ó hin bhí mé ag labhairt ar an bud chreile faoin nuacht, and that as much as, you know, there's good things in news and bad things, tá rudí deasas in nuacht agus drochordaí, that I'm trying to read less and less of it. Tá mbeidh déanú iirecht tá níos lú agus níos lúid in nuacht a léamh. And maybe, as I say with the RTE news, I'm not doing too well. Beidir li mbeidh déanú rá nó níl ag airí go maithlumm le sin le nuacht RTE and doing it without thinking. Ag déanú an rud sin gan a bheith smaoinú. But I just think sometimes with these things, whether it's good things or bad things in news, you can do so little about them. Níl tú on more on the end of food. Now you can still do a lot of things, of course, and it's important to be a good civilian and take action. Agus scríomhachtaí a dhéanú a gcoinne trochordaí against bad things and so on. But what I mean is sometimes people are so lost in what a president on the other side of the world said. Tá daoine cóibhcháilte ar rud éigean a rinne na rud éigean a dúirt uachtarán ar an taobh eile Déardaoin, and they can't see their best friend is going through a rough time, or a family member has just gone through something really bad. Tá duine éigean ina gláán nó cara éigean tar éis dul tríd rud éigean an Zachar, or they can't see the problems in their own community on their doorstep. Tíomh mu dá doras tosaigh agus in a bubble hain na faibanna sosialta and stuff that they can help with every single day when they go outside. Or they're so lost in the phone they can't even just be polite or have a chat with the waiter or waitress at the bar. Tá siad cóibhcháilte sa phone nach bhfuil an seans acu just chat nó córa a bheith acu leis an freastálaí ag an bar. And again, that's what's real life is. I'm not saying the stuff you see in the news isn't real. Of course it's real and it's horrible what's happening to people. Tá sé go thúfásach cad atá ag tarlú. But sometimes those things can be happening in your own community, in your own life, and you might not see the mornta being the rudí sin ag tarlú I the phobal hain agus leis na daoine I the hail agus ní féidir leat eáil. You can't see it because you're so lost in the technology and the different things going on. Again, it goes back to the caveman brain thing. Change your rash an inching caveman, and we're not kind of made for all this information and colour and light and stimulation coming in. And sometimes just to simplify things aren't they just on ruddy a himplu agus just raw. What is important? Cad tá tábhachtach, and let me focus on that and to put a bit of a limit on the screen and the internet and all else. Agus beagnaín store on the chur ar an Seol agus ar an Idirlín agus gachar that. That might have been a bit all over the place, chance garse sin, beagnaín timpeall háilte, but hopefully it made some sense. Le cúnaide, bhí beagnaín cí leis. Sometimes Gaeilge Weekly is a bit more serious than other weeks. Orintha bín Gaeilge Weekly beagnaín níos dáire ná seachtaí eile, but hopefully you enjoy it all the same. Le cúnaide fós, but into that na bheas. Big thank you for listening. Speak to you next week. Míle buchas as Gaeilgeacht le roma live on Seachtain Shugan. If you want to get in contact, liam.learnirishonline @gmail.com, liam.learnirishonline @gmail.com. Goodbye and God bless. Slán agus Beannacht.